Hi everyone, this is Harry Karanassos from the Foundry of Ideas. This video is part of a series on woodworking tools and projects in which I try to provide the answers you may be looking for. Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. We are only a few days away from Christmas, and I thought with this opportunity I would make a review of one of my most important tools in the workshop. The tool that I'm referring to is the DEWALT DWE7485 Table Saw. This table saw landed on my doorstep on the 2nd of June 2022, and so we can say that it is 1 year and 7 months old. And this is a good time to make a in-depth review. Bear with me, the show starts now. I have decided to step out of the way, so to speak, so you can get a better view of the table saw. Now, before I start with any details, let me tell you that this is not a promotion, endorsement, or sponsored presentation. The makers of the DWE7485 do not know that I am making this video, and nobody else knows that I'm presenting a video concerning the parts with which I have, in my opinion, upgraded the table saw. Everything you see has been purchased by me, and it is owned by me. So, the parts that were included in the box that contained the table saw were a rip fence. So let me show you the rip fence. This is, I'll put it here so you can see it. A miter fence. Now the miter fence is this one, and temporarily I'll just put it here. Then there is a upper blade guard assembly, and this is here, and as you can see, it is in the plastic box that it arrived with. It's a very nice guard. Here you have an insert which goes in the position of the riving knife, and here at the back you have a dust extraction attachment, so to speak. I do not use this because I like to be able to see what is happening when I use the actual blade. So I'm not using this. The end of this piece of equipment exactly here, or let me put it upright here, has an attachment, has a notch where there goes a pair of poles which are very sharp, and these poles serve to prevent kickback. In other words, they are anti-kickback poles. There are two of them. Then we have a throat plate. The throat plate that came with the table saw is this one here. This throat plate has 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, which serve to stabilize the throat plate and also to adjust it so the throat plate surface is in parity with the surface of the table saw itself. Now, you see what I have made here. Immediately I got the table saw was to convert this throat plate into a zero clearance throat plate. So I'm very happy to have done that because it encloses completely the blade. I'll show you now. Of course, what happens here is that this screw, number 5 screw, operates the catch underneath, which secures the throat plate. Let me show you in detail what this looks like. It is like so, and as you can see, this rotates so as to lock and unlock. This is a second insert plate that I got, not because I was thinking in terms of using a dado, but I'm going to also convert this as a zero clearance plate to have it as a backup. So this is the purpose of having 2 throat plates at the moment. Right, now the unit as it comes has got a lot of parts that are already stored within the unit. The mitre gauge is stored in the unit. There is a place here at the back of it where, over there, where it slots in. However, I am not using this gauge because it has got a bit of play. I don't particularly like this play that is happening here. And although with a bit of attention I could perhaps eliminate this plate, I have decided to provide a more comprehensive mitre gauge, which is far better. I think you will agree with me that this is a very nice piece of equipment, and it is much more accurate, shall we say, when you want to do a cross-cut at any angle that you like. A little bit pricey, but once you want to do a job properly, I think this is the tool one needs. It's very, very good, and it has served me well up until now. This is the tool I'm talking about. Right. The next part that we are going to look at is the dust extraction adapter, which is also coming with the table saw, and I have found it very good because this part of the adapter fits perfectly with my dust extraction vacuum. So I'm very, very happy with this one. Otherwise it means that I would have to go and purchase one. The next part that we are going to talk about is the blade and the riving knife. I call it riving knife, I really should be calling it riving knife. Excuse the accent here. Now, when you purchase a new blade for this machine, it is important to ensure that the blade curve is somewhat wider than the thickness of the riving knife. Otherwise, if the riving knife is thicker or wider than your blade, you might find that binding occurs. Now, let me show you how this works. I will remove the plate. And you can see that here we have the blade. The blade is very easy to elevate by means of the wheel over here. What happens with this wheel is very easily and quickly you can lift the blade to its full height, which is here. Now, as it is here, it is at 90 degrees to the surface of the table saw. There is a lever attached to this wheel which locks the movement of the blade. Now the blade is at 90 degrees. If I unlock this lever, I can shift the blade, as you can see, and I can move it up to 45 degrees, which is here. And of course, with the same lever, I can lock the blade at that inclination. So at this point in time, the blade is locked at 45 degrees to the surface of the table saw. Now, what happens here is internally here and internally over here, we have two apertures. One here for adjusting the 90 degree angle, and another one here for adjusting the 45 degree angle. So let me return the blade to 90 degrees, which is the maximum here. Now I lock it, and all of a sudden we have this aperture here exposed for the adjustment of the 45 degrees. The riving knife fits at the back of the blade here, and at this point internally here we have a small wheel which allows, by pulling it and securing it, because you can tighten it, to have the blade at this position, which is just a little bit below the top surface of the cutting blade. Now this blade is the blade that actually came with the table saw, and it is a 210 millimeter diameter blade with a 30 millimeter arbor, and it has got 24 teeth. One might say that 24 teeth is not enough to do a very good quality cut. However, I must tell you that when you are ripping, this is more than enough. For a cross cut, I will tell you that you can have different blades, and I will put this in the video so that you can have the details of these blades should you wish to go for a 40 teeth blade, or if you really want to go to town, there is a blade with 52 teeth. However, I must warn you, it is a little bit pricey. I would recommend it 100% because the crosscut of that blade is fantastic. Right, now the next thing that I want to mention here is, let's say, consulting my notes as well, because there are so many things that I have to tell you here. The steel roll cage protects the saw against job site drops and impacts. And when I'm talking about the steel roll cage, I mean this. It is a tubular arrangement, steel tubular arrangement. And what you can see here is that the quality of this steel mesh here is absolutely fantastic. I mean, when I look at the welding here, it is first class, and the matte paint again is excellent. So I cannot fault the machine at all in that particular respect. As you can see here, there is a way that you can store the blade guard, and to store the blade guard you do it like so, and you can secure it here as well. So this is another way that you can provide a way to store that part of the machine. Like I said, there are other parts that will take the miter gauge and the two poles for the guard. Right, okay. Now, one thing that I started talking to you about but I haven't come to it yet, is the rack and pinion fence. I think if I were to praise anything above everything else, it would be this fence. This fence, as you can see, it's made out of aluminium, 2 extrusions, 1, 2, and basically you have got these flaps here, one here and another one here, with which you can lock the fence where you like. There are 3 options. You can see these pins here. There is one pin here and the equivalent on that side, and there is another one here with the corresponding one on this side, and the third set is here and here. So if you want to work on the left side of the blade, you will use these pins. If you want to work on the right side of the blade, you would use this set of pins. Let me show you. There is a notch on the actual fence and it goes in the pin, and by lowering the flap, the fence is now secured onto the rack and pinion mechanism, which is here and back here. Now, this arrangement here has got a lever. You can see it here. This is a locking lever. Let me unlock it. And once it is unlocked, as you can see, the fence extends all the way to the right, and we are looking at 52, nearly 53 centimeters width on this side. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, all you do is you will unlock the fence from this point and put it on the last pin here, and basically now you have nearly 63 centimeters clearance, so you can easily cut a 4x8 board, no problem at all. Now, if you want to cut a very wide piece of equipment, board them in, you have this secondary fence here, which you can place this way, and by coming down this way, it serves to support the width of the board that you're trying to cut. Alternatively, if you want to bring okay, so up to here you can use the fence, the secondary fence as is. However, if you lift it, you can bring the fence further in, and so you can cut very thin pieces on this side. Let me reposition the camera so you can see how this works, because from where you are, what I am talking about is hidden by this part of the fence. So as you can see, this is the secondary fence, and at this point in time you can bring it very near the blade. Now, when you're using this pin here, you will have this gap. However, of course, you can open these flaps, you can remove the flaps, and what will happen is you can adjust the fence so that it locks on this pin here, and once you've done that, you can see now the secondary fence touches the cutting blade, so you can do thin cuts this way if you wish. It's an excellent arrangement which I have found to be accurate, because as you can see here there are two measuring tapes, so to speak, and they are regulated with this visor here, and I have found them to be accurate. However, let me tell you, this, as far as I am concerned, serves to be only a guide. I prefer to use this visor as only for guidance. If I want to do something very accurate, I will use my measuring tape, and if it is to be super accurate, I'll use my calipers. It's very easy to do that. So far we have looked at the various parts that are immediately visible up here. Let me remove the fence. So now, as you can see, I have taken the secondary fence at the back of the main fence, and that gives me the opportunity to attach via these two clamps what I call a sacrificial fence. Now, I have fitted the fence with a T-track, and on this T-track I have attached these two anti-kickback wheels, preventers, call them preventers. And basically what happens here is, if you have a board that you wish to cut, you adjust the two wheels so they touch the board, and what happens once you've done that is the wheels can move this way, but you cannot move backwards, they lock. So it's a very good system to prevent kickback. Of course, you know that when you are cutting a board, it is a good idea to be maybe on this side of the table. So even if, for some unforeseen reason, kickback does occur, the board or the piece you are cutting at, and you are working with will go this way and will bypass you. So this is very, very important that you do not stand in line with the board that you are cutting. I have used this arrangement and I have found it to be very helpful, and it gives you a reassurance whilst working that you can concentrate on the actual cutting process rather than be worried and concerned about the occurrence of a kickback. In addition, the length of this sacrificial fence on either side of the table saw gives you the opportunity to balance and better position whatever piece you're cutting. I know this is a very thin piece, but if you have a wider piece, this length here and there will be of great assistance. Now, in due course, I am also going to arrange that there is a flap on this side, something like this. Sorry, I'm in the way. Let me put the camera in the right place for you to see what I am talking about. And basically what I'm talking about is to put a short board attached to the sacrificial fence like that. It'll be a board which will be maybe that long, up to here. And that board will be screwed onto the sacrificial fence. Therefore, it will be supporting the board that you're cutting. And equally, of course, you will do the same thing at the other end here. So the opportunity here to produce an arrangement that will assist better in the cutting of a board is very good. Right. So we have talked about the riving knife, the blade, the fence, and the sacrificial fence. Of course, one thing that you will also use will be a push stick, and the thoughtful people of DWALT have made an arrangement so you can store the push stick at the back of the fence, of the main fence. Therefore, whenever you want to use the push stick, you are very much at liberty to pick it up and use it to increase the protection that it offers. As you can see, I have exposed the underside of the table saw, and let me first mention that the motor that drives the table saw is here, this one. Let me point it with the actual push stick, which is making things a lot easier. It's this one. And the part of the motor that drives the actual blade is here. It's aluminium. So there is a point that I need to mention here, which is important. First of all, the drive of the blade is a direct drive. In other words, the spindle of the motor drives, holds and drives the blade. Here you can see that we have worm gear and threaded shaft, as well as a plain shaft. Now, when you get this piece of machinery in the first place, I would recommend that you use this Castrol Spherol EPL2, which is a grease that you can apply both to the worm wheels as well as to the threaded part. What you need to be careful, and let me again reposition the camera so you can see better what I'm talking about, is the fact that this is metal, whereas this holder here is aluminium. And the same thing happens at that end. So both on this side as well as on this side, you should apply the grease that I mentioned, because as you are aware, when you have two metals of different properties, you may end up having an increased wear and tear. So this is my tip regarding that part of the machinery here. The motor operates at 5,800 RPM, which is quite a high speed, so show it respect when you're doing your work. Now, as we are here, let me point out that this is the actual lock mechanism for the riving knife, this yellow knob here. I had mentioned to you earlier that there are two apertures on this side, on the front of the machine, which are there for you to adjust the 90-degree angle of the blade and the 45 angle of the blade as well. Now let me show you. All the enclosed system for dust extraction is here, and it ends up at this point where we can fit the reducer. It's a good system, and I would say that 90% of the dust you will be able to extract here. Some dust will be created at the top of the table saw whilst you are working. However, the system that has been adopted by DEWALT is such that not much of the dust that is created at the top will be falling down here, and I'll tell you why. I'll show you. As you can see here, there is a very strong material, and the same thing continues on this side here, and therefore you have an envelope which prevents the dust from falling at the bottom of the machine. When I say it prevents the dust from falling at the bottom of the machine, yeah, maybe I would say 90% goes to the extraction, and maybe 10% falls at the bottom of the machine, because don't forget, some dust accumulates at the top of the table saw. So this is the story of the shrouding with respect to dust extraction. I did move the riving knife in order to give you a better view. With the table saw in this position, as you can see, there is one miter track here and another one here. These miter tracks are standard industry size, 1.9 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch. So any number of aftermarket gauges will work with this table saw. As you saw earlier, I did replace the miter gauge that came with the saw with my own, and that gives me the opportunity to have an increased accuracy crosscut. Another point that I wish to bring to your attention is the two spanners which you will use for removing the blade. Let me move the camera back a little bit so you can have a view of the storage location of these two spanners. The spanners that I'm talking about are these two spanners here. As you can see, they are held with a butterfly nut, and here there is a steel catch. So once they are in position here, they are not going to go anywhere. Since we are talking about the spanners and the blade, let me also say that this particular blade does not give you the opportunity to use, or rather not the blade, but the actual arbor is not long enough to give you the opportunity to use dados. I have heard that some people have tried to use dados and they have met with some success. However, I don't use dados, therefore I cannot make a comment of my own. Let me show you the length of the arbor. As you can see for yourselves, there isn't a sufficient space on this arbor to apply a set of dado blades. One point that is important is for me to mention here the operation of the switch, the main switch of the table saw. As you can see, there is a paddle here which gives you the opportunity to shut down the machine very easily if there is an emergency or whatever. The green button is the button that operates the table saw, and here at the top you have a flap which secures the switch and gives you the opportunity to pass a lock lever or bolt or whatever you want to call it, and lock the machine so that if children make a habit of coming and playing with your tools, they will not be able to turn this machine on. This table saw is quite noisy. When you stand over here and you do your work, you will have about 90 decibels of noise coming your way. So it is important that you use ear protection, number one, and of course eye protection as well. Now, this is a very important point. Take it into account because obviously if you keep on working with a machine as is without ear protection, you may run into problems with your hearing. Now, alignment checks I did when the machine first arrived, and like I said, first of all I found that the blade, when it is indicated here at 90 degrees, is actually at 90 degrees, and the distance of the blade from the miter tracks is equal when you measure it, let's say here, from this tooth to the miter track. Let me bring the camera a little bit closer so you can see what I am talking about. So basically what I am talking here is the distance from this edge to this tooth is the same when you turn the blade here and you measure the distance from this edge here to the same tooth. The same thing applies when you take your measurements from this track. Do remember that you should always use the same tooth. In other words, if you choose this tooth here and you take your measurement in this direction here, you turn the wheel and you take your measurement at the back. Be careful when you handle the blade because the teeth are sharp, so do take care. And talking about the blade, let me tell you that this blade has got teeth that are facing this way and teeth that are facing this way. Therefore, if you want to establish the curve of the blade, you will have some difficulty because it's not very easy to take the total thickness between this tooth here, this tooth here, and this tooth here. However, the curve is the average thickness of the two, because you see, as the two teeth are facing different ways, this will be the thickness. Now, for a better way, I will show you this within the video, where the two teeth are shown as of thickness of 24 millimeters, whereas the thickness of the riving knife is 22 millimeters. So we go back to what we said before, that the curve of the blade must be greater than the thickness of the riving knife, as otherwise you will come across some binding. The last item that I wanted to mention to you is that with respect to the dust collection, this machine is provided with what DEWALT call as an airlock dust connection system. And really and truly, all that means is you can buy a set of different adapters that will fit this saw table or any other machine of DEWALT that would accept dust extraction. This is a very good idea. The only thing that I have to mention here is you are looking at a setback of 70 pounds, or yeah, I think it is 70 pounds, and that covers a total of 6 different adapters, reducers, call them whatever, like the one I showed you earlier that goes at the back of the machine for the dust extraction. Like I said earlier, people have mentioned in a negative way the fact that a lot of plastic has been used for the construction of the machine on the left side and on the front. Really and truly, I think this is a complaint that has no base really, because a lot of the machines of this nature, table saws, are of the same construction. Some of the machines, some of the table saws that I have seen, in fact, contain a lot more plastic than what you have here. And another thing that is very important is right out of the box, when you test your working surface, it is perfectly flat. There is no sagging or hogging anywhere. So this is an added plus for DEWALT and for the people who prepare the machine for when it goes out of the factory. I have come to the end of this review. I hope you found it informative, and I hope it will show you all the advantages and disadvantages, perhaps, that when the time comes for you to purchase your own table saw, if you don't have a table saw already. My only points that I would like to bring to your attention once again is the greasing of the worm wheels and the threaded wheel that lifts the blade. So I think this is important, and I think in the long run you will find that you have given your table saw blade lifting mechanism a few more years of good service if you do that. Of course, it would be better if DEWALT in the future replace this two metal system by maybe a bushing, which is perhaps sacrificial, and equally at the same time easy to be removed. Because if you have to replace the entire system that holds the threaded rod, that can be quite expensive, time-wise and expense-wise, of course. I think I will give you within the video all the dimensions, like the dimensions of the miter tacks. I will give you the options that you have for different blades. Although one of them, as far as I am aware, my research shows that currently it is out of stock. I hope, again, that I have exposed to you everything about this machine, and now you have got a good idea and a good picture of what is involved. I hope in the future DEWALT can take the time to offer a system like this with attachments which can go on the left and on the right so as to support the board that you are working with in a better way. Equally, you can have something that you can bolt at the back here. So these are only my thoughts, and I would expect that if something like that is brought into being, there will be an added expense. I mean, when you buy the machine, this will not come with the machine. You will have to buy them separately. However, fine. If you think that this is going to be an added advantage for you, you may consider that the expense is worthwhile. Right, at this point, all I have to say to you is best wishes for Christmas, and that of course applies to you as well as to your families. I hope that the new year will bring you and your families happiness, love, and good health. I will see you on the other side of this ending year, in 2024 in other words, and I have got for you some really exciting projects, like building a really super duper sled for this machine. I have a mobile router system that I will be building, and quite a few other things that I am sure you're going to find of interest. Thank you for being with me today. Enjoy your holidays. Well, we have reached the end of this video. I thank you very much for taking the time to go through it with me, and I do hope that you have found my video informative and useful. If you enjoyed my video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any points you wish to raise, or if you have any questions which are connected to this video, please leave them in the comments below and I shall revert to you immediately. Your comments are valuable to me because I do try to produce videos that are related to the points that you have sent to me. Your comments also help me to produce better videos, so please keep them coming. I hope to see you in my next video. Stay safe, healthy and happy.